Hello guys, thank you for coming back. Today we're going to look up how is Germany so rich. So I hope you really enjoyed this video. Leave a like, a subscribe and watch for more.
At the time of making this video, Germany's GDP is estimated to be around 4.2 trillion US dollars. This amount of money is hard to
Really? Yeah, it's hard, man. It's 4.2 trillion US dollars. I really thought it was 1.5 or 1.4. I never thought it was 4.2 trillion dollars. That's a lot of money.
comprehend. However, it is still
I
less
feel
than the
poor.
combined market cap of the two most valuable brands on the planet, Apple and Saudi Aramco, whose total market cap is valued at 5 trillion US dollars. An economy size of 4.2 trillion makes Germany the fourth richest country in the world when looking
Well, good. The fourth one. Not bad. There are a lot of other countries who are way behind.
at this metric. Of course, this does not reflect individual wealth, but the wealth of the value of all finished goods and services made within Germany during a specific period. Only Japan, China and the USA have a larger economy. Each have a population 1.5, 16.6 and 4 times larger respectively. So just how is
To be honest, I think that Germany is not that rich of a country, but the people in Germany are really rich. My opinion here. I don't know. You may leave a comment down below and tell me, but this is what I think. Let's keep looking at
Germany
it.
the richest country in Europe? Well, Germany is an economic powerhouse. It sits in the middle of Europe, is a founding member of
Yeah,
the
that's a
EU,
good
and
thing.
is the second most populated country on the continent, only behind Russia, which kind of cheats by sitting in 2 continents. Only the Dutch work fewer hours among the 34 members of the OECD, which contains 38 countries from around the world. That German children spend 25% less time in the classroom than their Italian counterparts, and that there are 6 more productive economies in Europe alone, and yet Germany still has the strongest economy in Europe. So first things first, let's
Well, that's strange. I'm not connecting the dots. How is this possible if all those things are true?
take a look at how Germany compares to other European countries in terms of GDP. So the UK sits just below them with 3.1 trillion, next is France at 2.9 trillion, Italy at 2.1 trillion, and then Russia at 1.6 trillion US dollars. However, it must be noted that due to the sanctions from Russia's invasion of Ukraine, it is likely that Russia's economy size is actually much lower than this figure. So Germany comfortably takes the crown as the richest country by GDP on the continent. In 2016, Germany recorded the highest trade surplus in the world, worth over $300 billion. This economic result made it the biggest capital exporter globally. Germany is one of the largest exporters in the world, with around $2 trillion worth of goods and services exported in 2019.
Well, to be honest, that's a huge amount of money. And I'm not surprised that Germany is this rich if these are the real numbers that Germany has stated. So that's not a surprise, and I think that Germany, if it keeps going this way, will become richer and richer every day. Plus, it has a lot of huge companies there that are really known around the world. So
Automotive industry gross production value in Germany accounts for roughly 500 billion euros in total sales. In 2019, around 3.5 million vehicles were exported, which was around 20% of all exported cars in the world. The industry employs around 800,000
Mercedes-Benz.
people within Germany and accounts for around 10% of the total national GDP. German cars are known around the world for their quality and value. Brands such as BMW, Mercedes, Audi and Porsche are some of the most prestigious brands in the world. With a revenue of 278 billion US dollars in 2019, Volkswagen is Germany's biggest company. It is the 133rd most valuable brand at a market cap of around 105 billion US dollars. However, what blows my mind is that a company of this caliber is still 27 times smaller in terms of market cap than the most valuable company, Apple, at around $2.7 trillion.
Okay, Volkswagen is worth more than Mercedes? What the heck?
At the time of making this video. So Germany's GDP makes them the richest country in Europe, but as mentioned earlier, this does not reflect the wealth of its citizens. Let's look at the USSR as an example. It was an extremely wealthy empire, but the everyday citizens who lived in it were very poor. So instead, let's take a look at GDP per capita, which is a more accurate way of seeing the true wealth of citizens. For this, Germany ranks 17th in the world and actually 12th in Europe. So not bad, but certainly not as good as where their total GDP ranks them. It must be noted, however, that some of the nations that rank above Germany are incredibly small, such as San Marino and Luxembourg, whose populations are 34,000 and 642,000 respectively. So it's not a fair comparison for a country who has 84 million. However,
Yeah,
these stats
that's
do
true.
not lie.
Germany has a lot of population and there are a lot of people there, so he's talking facts here.
And although Germany is a financial powerhouse, its citizens on average aren't so much compared to other countries around them. When it comes to average salaries, Germany ranks 11th in the world and 8th in Europe at just under 54,000 US dollars or 50,000 euros. So again, not bad, but not the best. When it comes to enormous wealth, Germany has the 4th highest amount of billionaires in the world at around 134. Only India, China and the US have more. This means that there are around 3 billionaires per 2 million people.
To think about that is that small amount of people has a lot of billionaires there. Think about it. Okay, India has a lot of people and America is one of the richest countries. It will produce more millionaires. But to think that Germany, with 84 million people, to have that amount of billionaires, more than other countries, it's shocking.
In Germany. At around 3 million, Germany has the 4th most billionaires in the world, only behind Japan, China and the USA. This means Germany is responsible for over
Still fourth. Not more.
5% of all millionaires in the world. There is absolutely no doubt that Germany has benefited greatly from the euro. By getting into bed with more sluggish economies in southern Europe, Germany adopted a much weaker currency than would otherwise have been the case. As one of the very few countries in the world running a balance of payments surplus, the Deutschmark would have been a great deal stronger than the euro. However, this has provided a terrific boost to German exports, which are cheaper to overseas consumers as a result. But this goes only some way to explaining Germany's current economic might. Just as important are the relative low levels of private debt. While the rest of Europe gorged on cheap credit throughout the 1990s and noughties, German companies and individuals refused to spend beyond their means. In German, borrowing is Schulden, which is the same word for guilt. There is an attitude that if you have to borrow, there is something wrong with you. This has been particularly beneficial to Germany.
I love this about Germans. This is a great thing. I love that. I have the same mindset. You should not borrow if you don't have the means of giving it back. A lot of people around the world make fun of this kind of thing. They just borrow, they don't have the means to give it back and just become, I don't know, slaves.
In recent years, unlike its European counterparts, consumers and businesses did not need to slash spending to cut their debt levels when banks stopped lending during the 2008 crash and recession. Germany is pretty much positioned to become astronomically wealthy. Germany is centrally situated in Europe, has access to the sea, and has great river connections. Germany can service markets across Europe from its central location. Germany also has access to both iron and coal, which means it can make steel and generate power without having to import anything. The Germans have a fairly homogeneous culture, barring a lot of immigrants from Turkey in the post-war era. That culture...
I love this about Germany. Germany still is one of the leading powers of the world. So that's a great thing knowing about German people, is that they are really productive. They love their country. and they try to do as much as possible to make their country great. Different from a lot of places that people just want to benefit for their self, not thinking about their community or the people around them. So that's a great thing about Germany if you look closely to it. That's the reason why they are so far before other people.
Just stresses value of hard work, thrift, education, and collective action.
Yeah.
A perfect combination for creating successful companies and industries. The Germans came out of World War II with a destroyed infrastructure, but a lot of smart people. With the help of the Marshall Plan, they were able to rebuild the infrastructure, and the smart people worked with great diligence to restore their material wealth. Germany had a pre-war reputation for making high-quality goods, and German companies traded on that reputation in the post-war era, making things like cars, industrial equipment, chemicals, and electronical goods. The German people have had a very stable political system since the war too. When reunification became possible, the West Germans mobilized quickly to make it happen and deployed a lot of money to smooth the transition. There was relatively little objection in German society to the reunification, even though it was quite expensive. So to summarize, Germany is a resource-rich, geographically central country with a large population who have the right values to be successful and with a political system that is very stable. Thank you for watching.
So guys, this was my reaction to how did Germany become such a rich country. I really enjoyed this video. I learned a lot of new things that I didn't know before. I hope you enjoyed this video, so then leave a like and subscribe.